We just completed the otolaryngology match into residency for 2022, and again, this is a record year as well. Here's the breakdown of statistics from Otomatch2022. 643 applicants submitted an application into the ERAS system. 574 applicants actually entered into the match process and were able to put in a match list. There were 559 applicants that participated in the ENT signaling. There were 463 US MD seniors in the match, and they were all vying for 361 positions. All 361 positions filled prior to SOAP, leaving no unfilled positions. If we look at the data historically, we can see a line trend from 2010 to 2022 in this graph. The graph is a little bit confusing. It's got a lot of detail that's associated with that. If we just take a look at some of the high-level details, the yellow line represents, the area under the curve represents the total number of applications submitted prior to the SOAP process. The dark blue line represents the number of applicants in the match. Those green dots show the number of applicants that signaled. The light blue line shows the number of MD senior applicants that are in the match. And the red line shows the number of ENT positions offered. The purple line shows how many positions filled prior to SOAP, and so if all positions fill prior to SOAP, that purple line should meet that red line. The very bottom set of numbers that are in red denote the number of positions that were unfilled prior to the SOAP process. And again, in 2022, there were no unfilled positions. In 2022, the number of applications that each program on average received rose to 427. The number of applications submitted by each applicant rose to 84. The orange bars represent a ratio of number of applicants to positions. In 2022, there was an increased number of positions and a relatively somewhat stable number of applicants, or somewhat larger number of applicants, but that dropped the applicant to position ratio just a little bit. It's not hard to understand why applicants feel compelled to apply widely and prolifically. In a normal situation where applicants really only have to probably apply to a limited number of programs, if every other applicant is also applying to a huge number of programs, that potentially can cause an outstripped competition in which if you only apply to a limited number, you may not be well visible to the program directors. In addition, with a flood of applications, each program is not going to receive just 100 applications or 200 or 300, but now they're receiving 400 plus applications a year, which makes it very difficult to shine out from that crowd. This past year, we have allowed 4 signals per applicant to highlight 4 applications that may give a little bit more attention to the programs that they were sent to. This, however, is not enough to reduce the deluge and increased number of applications that each applicant feels compelled to do to secure a residency spot. Data from signaling demonstrated in 2021 that 60% of applicants matched into either their home program, a signal program, or a sub-I program that they had attended. Now, granted, during that year, 5 signals were allowed per applicant, but this might suggest another strategy to try to decrease or put downward pressure on the over-application or application fever that applicants feel compelled to follow. Perhaps the next helpful strategy would be to increase the number of signals given to each applicant. Because of the high match rate that each applicant has with their signal programs, they would feel okay with applying to a lesser number of additional programs, thereby reducing the total pool of programs that each applicant sends out to and causing some downward pressure on application fever. In fact, a very competitive applicant may feel that the number of signals that he or she received is adequate, and they would feel compelled only to apply to a few more beyond that number. In doing so, by decreasing the total number of applications sent per applicant, and by reducing the number of total applications each program receives, that allows each applicant to get better visibility amongst the programs that they desire, and that allows each program to better spend the time to holistically evaluate the decreased number of applications that they receive. That leaves us with the question, can increasing signaling reduce application fever? Let me know what you think.